ॐ ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ॐ गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ॐ सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रय विनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः। ॐ जन्माद्यस्य तोऽन्वयादितरतश्च अर्थेष्वभिघ्नस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो अमृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्त किल शक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यान्श्च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं। समस्तदेवताभ्यो नमः, ऋषिभ्यो नमः, मुनिभ्यो नमः, गुरुभ्यो नमः, ब्राह्मणेभ्यो नमः, आचार्येभ्यो नमः, भक्तेभ्यो नमः, साधुभ्यो नमः, साधकेभ्यो नमः, तीर्थेभ्यो नमः, क्षेत्रेभ्यो नमः, नदीनदेभ्यो नमः, शास्त्रेभ्यो नमः। परब्रह्मणे महाविष्णुवे ब्रह्मणे सनकादिमुनिभ्यो नारदाय वेदव्यासाय शुकब्रह्मर्षे सूतमहामुने नमः। शौनकादिऋषिभ्यो वैशम्पायनादिऋषिभ्यो अत्र्यादिऋषिभ्यो प्रह्लादादिभक्तजनेभ्यो आदित्यादि नवग्रहदेवताभ्यो मत्स्यादिवतारेभ्यो नमः। श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तिदत्तात्रेय हयग्रीवादिगुरुभ्यो नमः। आदिवराशक्तिमात्रे नमः। आद्यशङ्कराचार्यवर्यादिगुरुभ्यो नमः। मातापितृदेवताभ्यो नमः। अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। ओं श्रीकृष्णपरब्रह्मणे नमः। श्रीमद्भागवत महापुराणम् एकादशस्कन्धः मुक्तिर्हित्वा अन्यथा रूपं स्वरूपेण व्यवस्थितिः। अथ त्रयोविंशोऽध्यायः। श्री भगवान उवाच फ्रॉम 41 श्लोक 23rd chapter 11th स्कंद भागवत महापुराणम्। एवं सभौतिकं दुःखं दैविकं दैविकं च यतो भोक्तव्यमात्मनोदिष्टं प्राप्तं प्राप्तमबुध्यत परिभूत इमां गाथाम् अगायत नराधमैः पातयद्भिः स्वधर्मस्थः धृतिम् आस्थाय सात्विकीं द्विज उवाच। Chant this portion with utmost concentration, with utmost attention, with utmost devotion, with the full prayer that every meaning of every shloka of this portion is fully imbibed by each and every one of us. Because in this chapter, in these further shlokas, the entire mukti of every of the jiva and sadhaka is hidden, provided we can, if we can invoke it. It starts with the respect, reverence given to this particular portion, which we are expressing now through chanting, thereafter trying to see the meaning, contemplate on it, get the conviction, do the practice, and feel the experience. Dvijauvacha nayam jano me sukha dukkha hetuhu न देवतात्मा ग्रह कर्म कालाः मनः परं कारणमामनन्ति संसार चक्रं परिवर्तयेद्यतो मनोगुणान् वै सृजते बलीयः ततश्च कर्माणि विलक्षणानि शुक्लानि कृष्णानि अथ लोहितानि तेभ्यः सवर्णाः श्रुतयो भवन्ति अनीह आत्मा मनसा समीहता हिरण्मयो मत्सखौ द्विचष्टे मनः स्वलिङ्गं परिगृह्य कामान् जुषन्निबद्धो गुणसङ्गतोऽसौ दानं सधर्मो नियमो यमश्च श्रुतं च कर्माणि च सद्व्रतानि सर्वे मनो निग्रहलक्षणान्ताः परो हि योगो मनसः समाधिः समाहितं यस्य मनः प्रशान्तं दानादिभिः किं वद तस्य कृत्यम् असंयतं यस्य मनो विनश्यत दानादिभिश्चेदपरं किमेभिः मनोवशेन्ये हि अभवन् स्म देवाः मनश्च नान्यस्य वशं समेति भीष्मो हि देवः सहसः सहीयान् युञ्जाद्वशेतं स हि देवदेवः तं दुर्जयं शत्रुमसह्यवेगम् अरुन्तुदं तत् न विजित्य केचितो कुर्वन्ति असद्विग्रहमत्र मर्त्यैः मित्राण्युदासीनरिपून् विमूढाः देहं मनोमात्रमिमं गृहीत्वा ममाहमित्यन्धधियो मनुष्याः एषोऽहमन्योऽयमिति भ्रमेण दुरन्तपारे तमसि भ्रमन्ति जनस्तु हेतुः सुखदुःखयोश्चेत् किमात्मनश्चात्र हि भौमयोस्तद् जिह्वां क्वचित् संदशति स्वदद्भिः तद्वेदनायां कथमाय कुप्येत दुःखस्य हेतुर् यदि देवतास्तु किमात्मनस्तत्र विकारयोस्तत् यदङ्गमङ्गेन निहन्यते क्वचित् क्रुध्येत कस्मै पुरुषस्वदेहः आत्मा यदि स्यात् सुखदुःखहेतुः किमन्यतस्तत्र निजस्वभावः न ह्यात्मनोऽन्यद् यदि तत्मृषा स्यात् क्रुध्येत कस्मात् न सुखं न दुःखं ग्रहानिमित्तं सुखदुःखयोश्चेद किमात्मनोजस्य जनस्य ते वै ग्रहैर्ग्रहस्यैव वदन्ति पीडां क्रुध्येत कस्मै पुरुषस्ततोऽन्यः कर्मास्तु हेतुः सुखदुःखयोश्चेत् किमात्मनस्तद्दिजडाजडत्वे देहस्तु अचित् पुरुषोऽयं सुपर्णः क्रुध्येत कस्मै न हि कर्ममूलम् कालस्तु हेतो सुखदुःखयोश्चेत् किमात्मनस्तत्र तदात्मकोऽसौ नाग्नेर्हि तापो न हिमस्य तत्स्यात् क्रुध्येत कस्मै न परस्य द्वन्द्वं न केनचित् क्वापि कथञ्चनास्य द्वन्द्वोपरागः परतः परस्य यथाहमः संस्कृतिरूपिणः स्यात् एवं प्रबुद्धो न बिभेति भूतैः एतां स आस्थाय परात्मनिष्ठाम् अध्यासितां पूर्वतमैर्महर्षिभिः अहं तरिष्यामि दुरन्तपारं तमो मुकुन्दाघ्रिनिषेवयैव श्रीभगवानुवाच निर्विद्य नष्टद्रविणो गतक्लमः प्रव्रज्य गां पर्यटमान इत्थं निराकृतो सद्भिरपि स्वधर्मात् अकम्पितो मुमुनिराह गाथां सुख दुःखप्रदो नान्यः पुरुषस्यात्मविभ्रमः मित्रोदासीनरिपवः संसारः तमसः कृतः तस्मात् सर्वात्मना तात निगृहाणमनो धिया मया वेशितया युक्तः एतावान् योगसङ्ग्रहः य एतां भिक्षुणा गीतां ब्रह्मनिष्ठां समाहितः धारयन् श्रावयन् शृण्वन् द्वन्द्वैर्नैवाभिभूयते इति श्रीमद्भागवते महापुराणे पारमहंस्यां संहितायाम् एकादशस्कन्धे त्रयोविंशोऽध्यायः। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम श्री कृष्ण शरणं मम, श्री भागवत शरणं मम, श्री सद्गुरु शरणं मम, श्री सूत शरणं मम, श्री शुकदेव शरणं मम, श्री व्यास शरणं मम, श्री नारद शरणं मम, श्री कुमार शरणं मम, श्री ब्रह्मा शरणं मम, श्री विष्णु शरणं मम, श्री परब्रह्म शरणं मम, श्री कृष्ण शरणं मम, शरणं मम, शरणं मम। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारे, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारे, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारे, श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारे, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारे, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव। ओम मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं। स्वर्गे सत्ये च कैलासे वैकुण्ठे नास्त्यं रसः अतः पिबन्तु सद्भाग्याः मामामुञ्चतकरहित। ओं नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, Om Shri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha. Srimad Bhagavatam Mahapuranam Ekadash Skandha Muktiritva Rupam Swarupena Vyavastidhi Atadvatam Shodhyayah Trayo Vimshodhyayah Shri Bhagavan Vacha Bhikshurvacha Dvijovacha. Let us salute the Lord and entire Guru Parampara for blessing us with this information. We also have to congratulate ourselves that we are getting this opportunity. And yet, we have to keep on inspiring ourselves to make ourselves one with this knowledge, to make this knowledge one with us. We are in the 11th Skandha, Mukti Skandha, almost concluding. 23rd chapter, 8 more are there. Among them, the last 4 are only dealing with the Yaduvamshakshaya, Bhagavan Krishna, going back to Vaikuntha Dhama. Next 2-3 more are only the chapters which are filled with all the knowledge, wisdom, which are the giver of the Mukti, because the name of this Skandha is Mukti Skandha. In the present context, through that story of this Dvija or Brahmana or Bhikshu, Bhagavan Krishna is teaching to Uddhavji and all of us the divinest and highest and greatest knowledge. Bhikshu's Jivanam we have seen. He was Brahmana, how bad life he lived. The result of all that, he got very much in this much life only. But luckily, he did not get totally perturbed or lost. He used all those bitter experiences for 2 purposes. One, the extreme Vairagya for the world. Second, the extreme Mumukshita to know the truth. Then he, with the Vairagya, kept on moving in this whole world. Just for going here and there for Bhiksha and remaining time, doing only the Atma Vichara. Even when he was decisively doing that, Atma Vichara, knowing the truth and keeping away the world with absolute Vairagya, yet the karma has not chased him. It went on attacking him in the form of all those people who are otherwise not at all related to him, not at all known to him in this life. Yet wherever he was going, they were insulting him, humiliating him, troubling him, beating him, and every sort of the worst things that a human being can go through. Daihika, Daivika, Bhautika, all the dukkha was inflicted on him. But he did not suffer. Then without suffering, how he was maintaining himself? How he was in that state of balance? That's what all of us should seek. And the answer is, this is what was in his heart, which he went on singing for himself in the beginning. Later on, he has sung it loudly, and he became such a great Jnani, Bhikshu Guru, that his knowledge has now become the source of inspiration to get rid of all the inner and outer miseries and bondages for everyone who is pursuing this. So the situation of Bhikshu is all of ours also, as regards the outer thing is concerned. The only difference is inside, he has got the greatest of the wisdom. We are yet to get that wisdom. And what is the wisdom we have to get is this one. This shlokas from numbering 43 onwards till the end of the chapter, one of the masterpieces to be thoroughly studied more strongly than any Upanishad or any other all the mantras. That much is important. Now in this, what is the summary of all that? We'll tell first in 1-2 minutes. What is the essence, the entire this portion of 15-20 slokas? What thing we have to grasp or catch or understand, and then implement it in life, then to get rid of both dvandva of sukha dukkha. Therefore, total samsara is gone away. Thus, with that absolute peace of mind, we are able to focus on Paramatma in and out, and we are only reveling in his experience. Only 4-5 things to be known. The essence of whatever is taught in these next mantras. First and foremost is what? All of us are sukhi or dukhi. Let us start it this way. And it is true or not? Sometimes the quantity may differ. Some people are more sukhi, some are more dukhi. And it differs again on the period of life or the time. यानी कुछ लोग बचपन में इतने खुश होते हैं, बाद में all the dukkha they get. Sometimes bachpan with all the dukkha, anatha and all, but as they grew, suddenly they have adopted them, they are more royal than others. That's okay. But sab sukha dukkha hai. Basic point 1. First, we are all sukhi dukhi. Second point to be digested is, right now we are all in a false assumption. We are in an assumption which is false. That the cause of sukha dukkha for all of us is something external. This is what we are all in the delusion. What is the delusion? Something external is a cause of both sukha and dukkha. And what is that external is what is mentioned by that Bhikshu in each of his slokas. So we are Sukhi Dukhi, there's nothing to talk about it, discuss about it. It is everyone's experience. Second point is, we think something external is the cause of Sukha and Dukkha. We imagine, we assume. Therefore, whatever we are assuming the cause of Dukkha, we are trying to get out of it. Whatever the cause of Sukha we are imagining, we are going towards it. All of us are doing this only. And this pursuit is endlessly going on, wherein the effort is not ending, neither the dukkha is stopping to come from, nor the continuous sukha is happening. And yet everybody is going on, going on. What are they going on? They are going to sukha dukkha, they want more and more sukha, they want zero dukkha, they think the external things are the cause of sukha and dukkha. Or whatever they think the cause of sukha is this or that thing, they run towards that. Whatever they think that is the cause of dukkha, they are going away from it. Clear? Point 2. Step thing. Second point that is mentioned in this. Third is most important one. We have to rethink ourselves, reassess ourselves, and come to correct understanding. What is correct understanding? In that, there are two aspects are there. Very important. One is what? None other than other is the cause of sukha dukkha. This is the first point of the third point. What is the first point of the first point? That I am sukhi dukhi. Second is what? For my sukha dukkha, external things are the causes. Therefore, I pursue to achieve something or to go away from something. This is what everybody is in. Now, when we rethink, that is what is taught in the entire Vedanta, entire scriptures, especially this portion. When we rethink, re-establish, open yourself openly and start thinking, we come to know this fact which has two aspects in it. One, I myself am cause of my sukha dukkha. Second, in that point, the B point is, in me, my own mind is a cause of sukha dukkha. This is what we have to fully digest. थर्ड पॉइंट is, थर्ड में दो हो गए, मैं ही कारण हूं सुख दुख का, मेरा मन ही सुख दुख का कारण. Now the fourth point is the most important in the entire topic. What is what? The mind will continue to exist. Mind will continue to exist. And as long as the mind is continuously existing, it definitely becomes cause of sukha dukkha, called as samsara, till I, the owner of the mind, or the gulam of the mind, or the user of the mind, or slave of the mind, whatever you can take, this I do not discover or will not discover my own essential self. I, the one who is the owner of the mind, as well as victim of the mind. So I am the Sukhi Dukhi. Sukha Dukkha are coming to me. Sukha Dukkha are coming to me because of my mind. After analysis. Before that, Sukha Dukkha are coming because of the world. Therefore, Dukkha giving is Dvesha, Sukha giving is Raga. Whatever Raga, we try to be close to them. Whatever the Dvesha, we try to run away. That's what samsara, which is endless. How much ever you try to remove snake or get the snake, the samsara endless because it's unreal. In same way, imagining that the world is a cause of sukha dukkha is unreal. Therefore, the pursuit of becoming sukhi and removal of dukkhi by running behind the world will never end unless this wisdom comes. In the wisdom, there are only 3-4 points. One, I am the cause of my sukha dukkha. Second, my sukha dukkha again caused by my own mind. Third, mind will persecute me by tossing me up and down in sukha dukkha till I, the owner of the mind, doesn't discover or do not discover my own essential self. This is what we have thoroughly studied in our Mandukya Upanishad, especially in the entire Alata Shanti Prakarana. What is spoken is this. The self alone is the, and the last point is one, that self is the one which is neither Sukhi nor Dukhi, but it is Nitya Nirantara Nischala Ananda Swarup, which is the ultimate seeking of every heart of every being. What Mandukya told to us is what? That Ekameva Advayam Brahmanaya Nasti Kinchana is alone blissful thing. Now, in the avidya of that, which will have to be removed by the vidya, that is the entire Vedanta. Morning also we are studying nowadays in Taittiriya Upanishad. I will connect Taittiriya Upanishad, Mandukya Upanishad, this Bhagavata, so that at this very junction we should have the knowledge very pakka clear, so that we should not look here and there. This should be sufficient enough for us as a data concerned. This data we have to keep on deeply thinking, contemplating, and make this knowledge as my own and stand on that knowledge or live life according to that knowledge. See to it that no sukha, no dukkha, only in the ananda. So the Mandukya very clearly told in the avidya of that Atma Vastu only, some peculiar power called as Maya got generated. That Maya has done two things. So, one, it projected the mind. Second, it made the mind to do the spandana. The moment the Manaspandana has done, every world has come into manifestation, Abhasa. And once the world has come with so much of variety, obviously because of the differences in these two, the mind start functioning in analyzing them. When the analysis is done, something has some more value, some is less value. That sort of thing comes up. Immediately we call it as good, we call it as bad. Then immediately good, bad, all this labeling happens, after which the emotions of likes or dislikes, attachment, they are all obvious. Towards what? The world which is not real. Where the world is there in its own absence. Where the world is there in the spandana of the mana. Where is the mana? In the projection of the Maya. Where is the Maya? It is not at all there if the self is discovered. If the self is not discovered, then in the ignorance of the self, the avidya, the Maya will work all this havoc in our life. That's what is Mandukya. So is in the Taittiriya Upanishad in the morning. We just touched it today. Tomorrow, day after, we are going to exhaustively study that topic. How one attached to the karma talks always in the language of karma, and through that karma only wants to avoid dukkha and get sukha. And unfortunately, when he comes to spirituality, in the spirituality also, instead of focusing on already existing self, he thinks that the self can be gained by doing this karma, avoiding that karma. To that person, Bhagavan Shankara tomorrow will give an exhaustive answer. And then he says, through the Taittiriya Upanishad, you pursue the Atma Vidya or Brahma Vidya. Though it is also a karma, it is not karma like the other karmas of Nitya Nayamitika, Kama, Nishidha. These are all Adhyatmika sadhanas. We can't call them as karma. Though there is a karta in them, like I am the karta of doing my Adhyatmika sadhana karma, and yet is the authentic one. It is the Upanishad told. It is the one which all the Rishi Munis have certified. Therefore, though it is an action, it is compulsory to be done, but it is definitely going to give liberation. The effort of gaining Atma Vidya. Other than that, your other karmas of social service, other duties, or whatever you call Nitya Nayamitika Ityadi or Varna Karma, Ashrama Karma, they have so much of validity, relevance. As regard the outer world, Vyavahara, Samsara, improving upon that, getting Sukha in the world, going to the better worlds. In this total ignorant plane, all these are valid. When it comes to Paramatma, Adhyatmika sadhana, here only the Adhyatmika Vidya gaining pursuit alone is allowed. That is how we'll touch in the morning. Our Taittiriya. Now, what is said here in our Bhagavat Purana is so important है, सब मिला करके सारांश ये है, you are already the blissful self. Just abide in that. If that abidance in the self is not done, definitely the mind will live, will come into existence. The mind also is in two dashas. One, it is in the bijamastha, at that time you are in nidra. Therefore, the absence of the effort and struggle of jagra sapna is there. Therefore, the relative conditional sukha is there. So imagine if the mind is going to bija avastha only, so much of ananda experienced in nidra. If the mind laya totally happens, dissolution of the mind happens, you're always in the bliss. Which mind? Not the functional mind. Functional mind will be there as an instrument for even jnani, because with that only will interact as long as he is in the deha. But the other mind, which is a projecting mind, the mind which is influenced by the vasanas or has got the vasanas, the mind which has its own nature or habit of projecting likes is like, wo khachra wala mana, agar nikal diya mano, you are in the bliss and beatitude being in the same world. Therefore, I myself, living the life at the level of mana, keeping away from the self also, and projecting the world in the mana, and suffering in on the mana only. And the worst of all that is, whatever the world which is projected out of the mind as if the outer one, I blame that world to be the cause of my dukkha, or I imagine that world is to be the cause of the sukha. And in this, there is one relation, very subtle, final one. What is that? Whichever in the world you think as cause of sukha, that alone becomes cause of dukkha. Therefore, if you want to avoid the dukkha, you have to avoid the dukkha giving the world. You have to avoid the dukkha giving of the world only by avoiding the idea that the world gives sukha. है ना? दुनिया को देख कर सुख मांगते हो तो दुनिया दुख भी साथ में देगा, दुख नहीं चाहते तो सुख भी नहीं एक्सपेक्ट करना. This is another direction of discussion. But here, what he says is it is neither any of the external or a cause of our sukha. And now, there is no greater or important immediate thing which we have to understand and practice than this, because even Brahmajnana, Atmajnana slowly will follow later on. But immediately, two things we have to do. One, the removal of this so much of dukkha, pain we are going through in our heart, the continuous constant depressions, agitations, frustration, regrets, dukkha, all this kachra jo bhara hai na, first of all we have to get rid of that. And all of that is caused because of our total slavery to the world around that. From that we have to come out, mainly the people. That is why this topic becomes more important than anything in the entire Bhagavad Mahapuran. पहले अपने slavery to the world we have to get rid, and the quantities of dukkha frustration we have to remove that first of all. Then slowly enter into gaining the self which is infinitely blissful. The ananda of the Atmanubhuti can never be put in millions of volumes of book written also, that much greater it is. But we will be very far away from the pursuit of the blissful Atma as long as we are so much dukhi in our heart. We will be dukhi in our heart as long as we are slaves to the world. We are slave to the world as long as we are in a wrong assumption that the world is cause of sukha or world is cause of dukkha. Then why the world is in front of us? What we have to do in the world? World is only here for two reasons for us, or we are in the world for only two reasons. There is no third reason. One reason is our prarabdha exhaustion. Second reason is our doing due dharma as long as we are here. That is a fees we pay. Like when you go in the train, you have to pay the ticket. That is also sadharma. And then as per our prarabdha in the train, the jerks will be there of the train, the delays will be there of train, the track may be somewhere spoiled, या और कुछ भी जो हो सकता है उसमें जो भी हमारा प्रारब्ध, you can't do anything, you have to jail only. Sometimes the seat you are sitting is very loose, ढीला डाला, the pankha will not work there. You are traveling, for that you paid. And while traveling, you go through all that prarabdha. And the traveling is inevitable. And the destination which you are reaching through the travel, in your train travel, it may be your hometown or whatever. In our human lives travel, it is to the point from where we started our journey, that is our own self. So till we reach the self, the ticket should be valid, that is our dharma nirvana, and we have to go through all prarabdha. Anything extra we do, we are adding extra. Tomorrow again morning, Taittiriya Upanishad will talk about it. Therefore, with this clear understanding of this chapter, the first thing should happen to all of us. This ultimate highest sigh of relief within our heart, that nobody in the world can be cause of my sukha dukkha. Therefore, I did not be slave to the world. If this is not achieved, we can never be spiritual in millions of lives also. And of course, to expand our identity, to test our own purity, to only experiment on all our values in this world, we have to love everyone, help everyone, serve everyone. All of them are only to test our inner beauty qualities, which are the qualities of the Atmagnani. Therefore, when we practice them, we become more deserved. For that, the world may be maximum. For prarabdha, for dharma nivarana, third, to experiment whether our knowledge, our values are really gained by us or not. Other than that, never ever allow the world to enter into the mind, both with expectation of sukha first, thereafter thinking that it is a cause of dukkha. And whichever the person or thing you think cause of sukha, that alone will be proved as cause of dukkha. Till you give up the attachment in the mind. And especially to the sadhaka, Bhagavan will corner you in such a way that you have to either commit suicide or totally surrender to the Lord. Same that is happened to this bhikshu. He might have done so much of punya in earlier lives and also some papa which brought here, and that papa kicked him so left and right. First of all, it made him do all unbrahmanic works. Thereafter, he was exposed to such a terrible humiliation. And that terrible humiliation of all sorts, added with all maybe his earlier life punya, helped him in these two things of total vairagya from the world, total commitment only to know the self. And this point also is equally essential. Whether you achieve or not, put effort or not, but carry in the mind always this thing, till the Atma Jnana is gained, samsara or dukkha or limitation or janma marana or transmigration can never be avoided. Whoever you may be Ravana like Tapasvi, you may be Hiranyakashipu like Tapasvi, you are a Maha Yogi, what do you say, Yajna Yaga Karta like Indra. Indra is also great. 100 Ashwamedha Yaga, if one does, then he gets that post of Indra. That's why it's called Shakra, Shatakratu. So the Mahat Punya karne wale Indra ke saman ho, tapasya karne wale Ravana adi ka saman ho. Whoever you may be, you may enjoy all of that, but you will still be denied of the liberation, because the Atma Jnana alone gives liberation. This never should be forgotten. Whether you pursue Atma Jnana after million lives, that is your choice. But the fact we have to accept, because the acceptance of this fact alone, one day or the other, makes us transformed or directs us, guides us towards this. This is what happened to this Brahmana. This Brahmana could have done so many things. He can remove all his negativities of mind, bring all the positive qualities of divinity, goodness, and he could have gone to people and loved them, served them. Then that would have become another samsara, because he is doing punya sanchaya. He kicked all of that. He said, now I only know the truth. That's it. Because the main point is this, as we started the whole thing with this only, quoting the Mandukya Upanishad, till Atma Avidya is there, the mind and its projections in the form of the world will continue to persecute me, the one who is in the Avidya of my own Atma. So I myself will have to discover my own self, after which there is no ignorance, ignorance causing mana, mana created world, and slavery to the world through the mana. This is called Vedantas, the clarion call you may call, the trumpet blow you may call, the roar of the lion you call. Naam kuch bhi do, Vedanta kehte. And I tell you, first and foremost is these things. Now one by one we will see. Already 3 mantras we have seen, Dvijavacha, and I tell you, first line itself Mahavakya. और बाकी सारा करो ही मत, तो पहला वाला कर दो, like धर्म क्षेत्र कुरुक्षेत्र. What is that? क्षेत्र क्षेत्र धर्मम कुरु. If that much is done, the मुक्ति का सोपान आपको खुद ही खुल जाएगा. So to Eshavasya Vidagam Sarvam, if that much is done, the mukti is already there. In the same way here also, the first line is the $1 million wala. And to make us understand the first line only, all the remaining things, if the first line is missed, everything is missed. With the understanding of the first line, whether you see the Lord in the world, or whether you see the self in the world, or whether you say the world is shunya, whatever you do, but get out of the attachment to the world. Then only one becomes spiritual. Never otherwise. Even a one shloka of Bhaja Govindam also cannot be enjoyed by us through practice. You may remember the shloka. You may even explain the meaning of it. And anybody, when he talks on any text for 5-6 times, he becomes a master talkative like any parrot. But that never gave mukti to anyone. Even one shloka also, if this first line of this shloka is not digested. What is that? Let us all chant this Maha mantra. Let us do it for 11 times. I tell you, very essential it is. कुछ भी हो जाए, ये एक चीज आ गया हमारे जीवन में ना, to a great extent we can relax ourselves. So first line only chant 11 times. Start. Nayam jano me sukha dukkha hetuhu. Nayam jano me sukha dukkha hetuhu. Nayam jano me sukha dukkha hetuhu. 3 times we did. Before we do the 8 more times. For that Dvija, all the people around, wherever he was, they were trying to inflict sukha dukkha to him, but he understood that none of them can be the cause. Therefore, he is singing that song very loudly. We also, while chanting next 8 more times, all the jana who are around you, from in this very life, let us say, you can't remember the past life, future life, all those faces you remember, and see to it that they were imagined to be the cause of sukha and dukkha. And whom you imagine as the giver of sukha, how much slavery, gulami you have done to them. Remember that? And whomever we thought of giving us dukkha, how much we hated them. Remember that. And right now, applying this medicine of this first line mantra, detach, cut all the attachments from those who are giving, who are imagined to be giving the sukha, and also remove all the vengeance and hatred toward the people whom we imagine that were giving the dukkha. Cut, abhi isikshana. Then only we can unconditionally love the people. Then only we can forgive all. Then only with that peace and calm mind, we can study the Vedanta and the intricacies of the Vedanta, which are indicating the absolute truth, we can understand. So, feel, I am remembering you all people in my mind now. From now onwards, you are not the cause of my sukha or dukkha. Rejected and ejected out of all projections. Do it more times. Nayam jano me sukha dukkha hetu. Nayam jano me sukha dukkha hetu. Nayam jano me sukha dukkha hetu. Any jana, your parents, your wife or husband or children or सब उस कैटेगरी में आते हैं. Wholesale you pack all of them and remove from the list that they are the cause of sukha dukkha. Nayam jano me sukha dukkha hetuh. 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 This is a Maha mantra. अब छोड़ो मत इसको. I told you from last 2 years to write various mantras and stick them in your house. आप सब फाड़ दो, ये एक लाइन लगा दो हर जगह. Because first we have to get out of this commotion created with our attachment or aversion to the people. The suffering which we get through the people million times more than with the objects, which are the innocent objects. क्या छोड़ सकते हैं? ये लोग क्या है ना छोड़ सकते, ना पकड़ सकते, ना उनको बदल सकते, ना उनके हिसाब से हम बदल सकते हैं. क्या घमासान भयंकर संसार है. A person who is student of all the Shastra, learned everything, yet he'll be a lowest level of victim when he thinks the people are hetu of sukha dukkha. All his knowledge, all his study will not give an iota of experience of him, of the inner self, if the first line is not practiced. If to a so-called jnani only this is the problem, what to talk about all of us, we never have the conviction of the spiritual knowledge also. Our life is so worse. Now, the analysis will be long, lengthy, exhaustive. 2 or 3 things we touch upon, then we follow the sloka. See, first and foremost, I am the pure self, whether you believe or not. It is so subtler, it cannot be touched by any of the jana. Then how can they become cause of sukha dukkha? कोई बंदा किसी को सुख दुख देना है तो ये वहां तक पहुंचना चाहिए ना. They can't reach. Like the paint cannot paint the akasha. If the paint is red, red color. If the paint is green, green color. Because akasha is such a subtle thing, the paint cannot touch it. Then how can you say the akasha is painted green or red? Try to catch that impossibility. Same way, the real self of us is so subtle, the beings outside can never reach that place. Then how can they are becoming cause of sukha dukkha? Nayam jano me sukha dukkha. Second is what? By themselves, no jana come in our life. It is we only did all sorts of gaflata that we are inviting them. See, postman gives a letter to you. If it is not addressed to you, why will he bring it to you? If he brings and gives to you, you see the address. अब पड़ोसी का है बनाना 305 का है 306 में दिया. You go and give मेरा नहीं आपके एड्रेस में आया. If you are claiming that means what? It is addressed to you. Now, who will write a letter to you or send? Only those who are related to you, not a banda unknown to you. So you are the cause there to get that letter on your address through the postman. So the entire world is a postman only. It is I who have ordered this, that. देखो कभी कभी आप ऑर्डर करते हो ना कोई ईटेबल्स वगैरह, यू विल ओपन डोर 10 टाइम्स एंड देखो आया नहीं 10 मिनट लेट आया और 10 मिनट लेट आया तो पूरा ऑर्डर का पैसे नहीं देंगे हम. हाउ रेस्टलेस यार. बट द सेम थिंग व्हेन कम्स एंड ही नॉक्स द डोर, ही सेज भाई महाराज ऑर्डर दिया आपने, मैंने ऑर्डर नहीं दिया पड़ोसी दिया होगा, भाग यहाँ से. टेल हिम टू गो. इन द सेम वे the jana will never come into our life unless there is some runa anubandham of give and take. Of course, when it started, we can't say, but somewhere we are starting. And at that very moment of starting, if we get the wisdom of not allowing it to create any prarabdha, then that will not add. Like, so you see so many people in the world. With everyone, you are not attached to with ego or expectation. So you are looking at them, interacting with them, transacting with them. तो how many people in our life, let us say your life is 80 साल, तो 80 साल में 30,000 दिन हमारा जीवन के हो गए. 30,000 दिन में 3 लाख से ज़्यादा लोगों को हम मिले होंगे. No, do all of them create samsara to you? No. That means what? There's a possibility of not allowing to be created any samsara. How did it happen? Well, whoever we met yet not created samsara, we dealt with them objectively. And with whomever we have lived very subjectively with some type of connection or intimacy or imagination or projection, they created the samsara. Interesting? Any pilgrimage you go, hundreds of people are there, but everybody will not create. Somebody आपके पाँव कुंदला है या आपको कोई मदद किया है, then his impression will be there in your mind for more time. So that also you take Ishvara Kripa and Prarabdha. Don't allow anybody to enter your mind. Are you getting the point? What we are discussing? Self cannot be touched. One point. Unless we invoke, nobody in our life comes to give us sukha dukkha. Therefore, the buddies are not sukha dukkha. Therefore, towards that buddies don't have the raga dvesha. Then what to do? If you want sukha, do your own punya. Through somebody it comes. Don't hold on to that buddy. If you don't want dukkha, don't do the papa. Nobody will come to deliver it to you. Focus on yourself. And who is the one Papa Punya Karne Wala? That's the biggest subject. The entire chapter and further chapters it discusses our own uncontrolled mind. The entire life's exercise is only to hold on to the mind and control. Like when a small child is in your house, just born. For 1.5 year, that stupid fellow will eat the entire life of yours. 24 घंटे खत्म. When you go to America and all, because your son or daughter called you that they are getting children, it's very costly to have an ayah there. You have to pay lakhs and lakhs dollars. Amma, you come. Do you think you will have a spare moment for your own self? You can't even have your own bath or khana. That nalaik will cry at that time only. Your life is gone and you are all satsangas, everything over, and you throw Swami and his classes just like that at that period. Swami knows it is okay, but that becomes habit to them. They get more and more children, grandchildren, they are caught up. मैं क्या करूं उसका? That's not the topic. In the same way, to an adhyatmika sadhaka, some time के लिए कम से कम 24 hours, the only job is the minding of mind. Only when we have assured ourselves that it's no more going to be. Like when the child is pacified and given good food and medicine, then can take a book or do her japa or can watch their satsang on it. कुछ कर सकती है. In the same way, only after pacifying the mind with the right knowledge that we can do our contemplation, do our meditation. Otherwise, without pacifying the mind, on the seat of meditation, contemplation, puja or japa, you are struggling with the mind only. Who told you that we are sitting and doing meditation when you sat for 2 hours? वो दोनों घंटा हम अपने मन से ही कुश्ती लगा रहे वहां. And it is not your and my thing, it is universal problem. मजा इसकी बात ये है. That's how you have studied 50 साल सारा वेदांत. And yet only problem which started will continue. जी सब वेदांत सुन लिया फिर भी मेरा मन कंट्रोल नहीं. It is not a laughable that way thing. It is natural because you try to study Shastra, but you never understood the importance of managing this mind. The Vedantins have misguided you by saying that you are Atma, you are not the Mana Buddhi. अरे वो तो ultimate truth है, but पहले जो मन में नहीं हूँ, उस मन को control करो यार. Only in extreme cases, as I said the other day, one among millions can reject outrightly the upadhis anatma and enter into meditation. वो चीज वो लोग कर पाए because from so many lives they have controlled the mind, managed mind, mastered mind through karma yoga, bhakti yoga, stuff. कर करके उनके जन्म में ये हुआ कि they could detach. But all majority of all of us, though the atma is none of the manabuddhi ityadi, though we have to transcend manabuddhi ityadi to reach the atma, yet at this present moment, the most important job is mind the mind. If this is not properly understood, both. If somebody is stuck up in the management of the mind, he'll become Siddha Purusha, not Atma Jnani. Somebody theoretically knowing Atma Jnana, but will never have the experience because he has not done this one. So the Vedantic goal, keeping in mind, we have to do this sadhana of all other things. That's what it will be told to us. All these sadhanas, sarve mano nigraha lakshanantaha. In the 46th sloka, we are going to see. सब कुछ इसी के लिए करना होता है. Who is saying this? Bhagavan Krishna alone, who is the one given the essence of all Upanishads as Bhagavad Gita and taught Sarvadharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Vraja, and who talked about Esha Brahme Sthiti Prapta, the one who talked about Brahmano hi Pradishtaya Amritasya, Etam Vibhut Yogitam Matta Partaram Nanyat Kinchidasni, the one who spoke about Brahma Vidya Maya Tadingam Sarva Jagadavekta Murtina, that Krishna is telling about the immediate sadhana as your mana, minding the mana for its control. Okay, now what is essence so far studied, understood? We will see every sloka. Let it take 20 days. You may get bored, fed up, you may run away. Like nowadays, every one of you are doing. I don't bother. I will so thoroughly study and speak for my sake. So, first is the statement of the fact which we have to realize. Please remember, all Upanishadic mantras or the Subhashita mantras or all these slokas that are given Purana Itihasa, all are Anubhava of the Jnani, which have to become our Anubhava, whereas we are now at the level of our own samsara. So, Nayam Janome Sukha Dukkha Hetu is an experience, not Brahmana, which has to become our experience. For that, we have to do our sadhana. For now, presently, we think the jana are the sukha dukkha hetu. जैसे सिद्धांत इन वेदांत भाष्य will go on tongue on Advaita Tattva. But that is whenever not understood by the listener, the Purva Pakshi or Shishya, he raises the question. So he will have to lift himself to the level of what Siddhanti or Acharya is speaking. Here also, at this very moment, when you are given the information about the knowledge of Shastra, which is an experience of the Mahatmas, it is only information for us, we have to realize it too. So I am listening this sentence, Nayam Janome Sukha Dukkha Hetu. This is a sentence I listened, which is a fact, which I have to realize later on, which is now realized by the great Bhikshu there. Now, what is the position of mine? Sukha Dukkha ke liye I am running behind Jana. So from that state of running behind the people for Sukha Dukkha, I have to come to the level of the Jana are not the Hetu for my Sukha Dukkha. I have to keep this as my goal. And somehow or the other we have to achieve. What is the way to achieve will be told to us, by which a day should come where you are not expecting even a little sukha from anyone, therefore nobody will give you dukkha also. If this freedom is not achieved, not only we waste our time in useless people, etc. throughout life, we die with that bad habits, and when we are born again, from the Janma onwards, again we become slave to the people around. We will never be surrendered to Guru or God or Shastra, nor we can grow in our own inner stature of being the self. Such person in our other texts, especially again Mandukya toward the end, are called as Krupana, 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 Krupana. The miserable, the frustrated, the dejected fellow, failure in the life always, like a slave and beggar looking. देखो ना रेलवे अपना लाल बत्ती के ऊपर those beggars come ना. How deenata on the face, how they ask. We are no less than them at all in our life. Kripanata. Come out of that Kripanata by discovering the self. Before that, understand that the world is not cause of Sukha Dukkha. It's my own mind. इस मन को पकड़ के उसकी हर तरह का पिटाई, घिसाई, रगड़ाई जो भी करना है करो ताकि वो सीधा साधा हो जाए. Any instrument, you make it whatever is to be done on that useful. Each instrument is used for different purpose. But to make it useful, it has to be molded like that. So too the mind has to be molded to become useful for us for the sadhana, not useless to trouble us by projecting the world and making us slave to the world. Now this chapter, as I am telling you, slokas are so essential. After all this understood only, then when a question comes, then I can't realize, sir, you can't. Then what to do? You have to transcend the mind. How to do? By controlling the mind. Then how to control the mind? Then you study Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Only that text in which the essence of all Shastras where The total mind management is given, is culled out and put at one place by that great Paramatma's avatara, that Patanjali ji, in all the Yoga mantras, Yoga sutras. Without studying that, without practicing that, without doing the nirodha of the vrittis of the chitta, we can never employ that free chitta in the Paramatma, the chitta, to discover him as ourselves. So first thing is what? Nayam janome sukha dukkha hetu ho. Therefore the world is the form of Lord. Just love them, serve them. Don't take the world as source of sukha. Then the same world will become source of dukkha. First thing is janaha, the people. Nayam janome sukha dukkha. And then small little exams. Ab kitna baar batao? Your mother and father have given you so much love, so much money. That's because in the earlier life they took from you and they never gave back. Therefore, you are born as their children. This is one of the logics. Otherwise, why not every parents give everything to children? कोई जगह में देखो तो हो पिता माता तो like a shatru only they torture the children. How come it is against dharma being a parent? अब उस बंदा उस तरह का प्रारब्ध लेके आया फिर. See the combination ऐसा रहता है. It's not a joke. It's not मजाक. कि this person has taken money from that person. He gave money, but he also gave so much of dukkha. Therefore, he'll have to give the money back also to him, also dukkha back to him. In such cases, those children are born who are taken care of by the parent monetarily, but also frustrated by disciplining them, by beating them left and right. In another case, you owe the love to the child, not the money. Money is very less given. Therefore, they themselves are poor parents. Children also poorly fed are given, but the love is given so much. In the other case, पैसे भी दंडा भी दोनों दे रहे थे दंडा. You understand? In some cases where the child owes for parents owe very less to the children, very early the children get the job and they fly to other country. In the other case starts here. The parents only owe, children only owe a lot to the parent. They go and stay with the children. The children parents is some janam ka sambandha hai. Earlier one, there are two jivas, whoever they were, in whatever the relation they were that time. And that had to be exhausted this way only. Therefore, it happens this way. You can't avoid it. All the permutation combination, nobody knows other than God. You only have to assume and accept it like that and move ahead. Good. Nayam janame sukha hetu ho. Remove any person's image from your mind. Select and delete. Nobody should be there except Guru, Bhagwan ka. किसी बंदा होना ही नहीं. नायम जनो में सुख दुख. एंड बाहर नाटक करो. यू आर परफेक्ट इन दैट हाउ टू डू नाटक इन फ्रंट ऑफ स्वामी गुरु. ये सब कहता ही हमको. सेम थिंग यू डू अदरवाइज ऑल्सो. डोंट टेल ऑल दिस. स्वामी ने मुझे बताया कोई मेरा सुख दुख का कारण नहीं है, इसलिए तुम मेरे सुख दुख का कारण नहीं हो, इसे देखो मैं तुमको मेरे मन से निकाल रहा हूँ. She will take a AK-47 and all, beat you left and right. Don't tell anyone. Do it inside. And not with rejection, not with hatred, with the understanding. Okay? First is Sukha-dukkha-hetu Janahana. Then it is Graha Karma Kalaha, Devata Atma Graha Karma Kala. These 5 things. Devatas, the Indriya-adhisthana Devatas. Atma, the body. The Graha, the 9 planets there or whatever the number. Karma, the variety of actions. Karma means your own. The karma actions. The Kalaha. Karma is the Karan, but karma by itself is Jada. कर्म किम परम कर्म था जड़म. कर्म के कारण ही फल होता है, लेकिन कर्म अपने आप नहीं होता है. इस तरह से कर्म भी कारण अपने आप नहीं है. And nor the kala, not in kala. Then you rejected whatever I imagined to be the cause of my sukha dukkha. I was waiting for good kala. I was waiting for the bad kala to go away. I was thinking this karma and that karma. And I was thinking my own body can give me sukha dukkha. देखो ये बॉडी का भी विचित्र होता है. किसी बंदे को ना कोई बीमारी नहीं होता, बट स्टिल ही विल बी सफरिंग विद द बॉडी because of the demands of the body and some other fellow, every disease is there, still he doesn't suffer. ये चित्र विचित्र होता है इस दुनिया में. You can't imagine. Atma is this. Then Devata means the Adhisthana Devata. So list out the Adi Devika Devatas and Adhyatmika Devatas. They are only the courier service to give us Sukha Dukkha. So to the Deha also is a means. So that's not the primary cause for Sukha Dukkha. Though seated in the Deha only we get Sukha Dukkha. Deha is Sukha Dukkadi Ayatanam Shariram. Asti Jayate Vardate Viparinamate Apakshete Vinashyate Shadvikarvati Etato. We have studied all that. इसमें बैठकर हम सुख दुखी होने को लिए मिलता है, लेकिन ये मेन कॉज नहीं है. These are all secondary causes, not primary causes. There are auxiliary causes, not the main. So Devata, list them, they are not the cause primarily. They are the duty, like the courier person gives you, but he is not primary cause. Some medium is required for delivering it to you, so he was appointed there. In that case, his prarabdha is more than our prarabdha because he'll have to get the money through that job. तो फिर अलग combination होता है, I'll not confuse you or add to the confusion. So list out the devata, they are not the cause. Look into your own body, it is not the cause. Otherwise, if you take the body as also cause of sukha dukkha, then we only get attached to it so much so, and for some time only it becomes the cause of sukha when it is healthy and young and all. As it becomes old, then you look at it and suffer. But the attention is always on the body. But the body also will be healthy, giving lot of sukha for a long time, more than that useful for the sadhana, if you are a spiritual seeker, depending on our own earlier punya papa. तभी जाकर ऐसा शरीर मिलेगा. चाहे एक हेल्दी बॉडी मिलना, कम से कम खाने से ही सफिशिएंट होना, लॉन्ग लाइफ जीना, फुल ऑफ एनर्जी रहना, साधना के लिए उपयोग करना, that also is महा पुण्य फल. Otherwise, I want to do all sadhana, but every part of the body is aching, paining. It's only a dream, our sadhana. Swamiji, I want to go to Tirtha Yatra, but I tell you, my knee doesn't allow me. I go. Ambition is good, but instrument is not good. But this deha is cause right now. But earlier, even for this deha, there is another cause. That the main cause, और main switch पे सब बिजली आती है कि नहीं, वहाँ से हर जगह सप्लाई होता है. So at everywhere the switch may appear to be cause of the bulbs glow there. But ultimately the main cause, the main. So main cause we are finding here in the third line. ना हम जनों में सुख दुख हेतु हो, ना देवतात्मा graha, innocent grahas. As I told you yesterday, remember, they are in the behest of the Lord, giving to all jivas what they owe. They are innocent people. Shri Maharaj, he will not, he is not ego there, he is a devata. He will not have any vengeance to us. If it is there, he would not be posted in that post. He will be ousted long back. He is there. Only those people who do the duty as told by the Lord without their personal involvement, they only are given the highest posts. The Shani, Navagrahas are the highest post they are. Ordinary, I say, selfish ego पे लोग को नहीं देते. So therefore, they don't have any personal grudges towards us to give us dukkha. याद रखो. They only are dispensers for the payment we pay. The papa punya whatever do, accordingly they dispense sukha dukkha sukha. ठीक है? ना देवता, ना आत्मा, ना ग्रह, and then कर्म भी नहीं है. कर्म भी कारण नहीं है, क्योंकि कर्म by itself doesn't happen by itself. There is some karta, and between the karta and karma, there is planning going on. That is the main cause which comes in the third line. Finally, not even the kala. Naham jano me sukha dukkha devatu na devatatma gra karma kala. Param is something other than this. He is the karanam. Amananti, having lot of inquiry done, experience done, the generations and generations of yogis and gurus have discovered, and I also found it, putting it in front of you. What is that? Param means, in fact, indeed. The param is called as parantu. Param in your Hindi, pure Hindi, Mahabharata, the movies and serials, this word you have heard it. Parantu also, param also. Kintu parantu. Param means, in fact, other than all above thing. Then what is the karanam? Manaha karanam amananti. This is the third. As much important is the first line. Nayam janome sukhatikkayeto manaha karanam amananti is equally important. So let us chant this also 11 times so that the thought enters. And whose mana? It's our own mana, not anybody's. So chant the 11th, third line 11 times. That param word you drop it. Manaha karanam amananti. Manaha karanam amananti. Manaha karanam amanante. Manaha karanam amanante. Manaha karanam amanante. Manaha karanam amanante. Manah Karanamamanante, Manah Karanamamanante. While saying so, na, you feel aware of your mind and you just tell to yourself, this mind of mine is the cause of all Sukha Dukkha. Therefore, I pay my attention on this mana to the exclusion of everything else. First and foremost, let me do it right now at this very moment. Let me start. My full attention is only this Paramakarana mana to set it right for my Sukha Dukkha. ऐसे विचार करते हुए ये मंत्र बोलो, मनः कारणम आमनन्ते, मनः कारणमामनन्ते, मनः कारणमामनन्ते, ओम मनः कारणमामनन्ते, मनः कारणमामनन्ते. That's it. This is more important than Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namo Narayana, Trambakam Vijaya, Bhurvosvaha. All these mantras will be effectively done to invoke the grace of Lord when before the mantra chanting, the instrument, the mind with which the mantras are chanted is controlled. This thing will never understand unless we are at the feet of the Guru, that all upasanas we are doing but with an unfit mind, impure mind. That is what it is as good as not doing only. Asradaya utan dattan avastaptam kurtam chayat asadityuchate partha nachattetyano iha. समझ गए बात? आप पूजा किससे कर रहे हो? अपने मन से, बट मन पवित्र है क्या? नहीं है, तो अपवित्र मन से वो पूजा कैसा कला जाएगा? देखो दोनों बातें, मन को पवित्र करने के लिए पूजा करते हैं, दैट इज लेटर ऑन, बट पूजा करने के लिए थोड़ा पवित्रता होना चाहिए ना, टू बिगिन विथ द क्वाइटनेस, द कंट्रोल, द लव, यू हैव टू ब्रिंग इट. So mana param karanam amananti. Then the fourth line is $1 million line. Ye samsara chakram parivartayeta yataha. Yat manaha samsara chakram parivartayeta. And this is the mind. When it is not held on to, when it is not controlled, when it is not purified, when one is not transcending it, it will make the samsara chakra parivartanam. Now we connect this with the 15th sloka of Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter. And not 15th chapter, 18th chapter. The 49 or 50. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hruddeshe arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarva bhutani yantrarudhani maya. Dekho how much related this point sloka with what we discussed in the beginning today. Bhagavan with his own Maya Shakti moves the jivas from one birth to the other like the giant wheel operator moves that giant wheel. In that giant wheel, don't imagine others. You alone are there. Don't worry. अपने की बात. आप ही बैठे हुए जॉइंट व्हील में नीचे से ऊपर को, ऊपर से नीचे को आने जाना पड़ता है. वो रिंग मास्टर करता है उनको. वो उनकी माया है. Now that giant wheel is the mana. And that mana is Maya of Paramatma. When you hold on to Paramatma, Maya is not there, Mana is not there. Using the Maya and Mana, the Samsara Chakra, Gumav also is not there for that Jiva. He is free from that Chakra of the giant wheel. वो जो चक्र में बैठा है उसी को ही गुदगुदी होती है, खुशियां होते हैं, डर लगता है. All that is samsara. The one who is off the field of the giant wheel is only relaxed. So to the example of person in a boat in the water, ups and downs are only to him. When he is on the banks, nothing of the moving of the boat or the waves touches him. Again I am saying, Ishvara sarvabhutanam urdeshe brahmayan sarvabhutani yantrarudani. Here also samsara chakram parivartayat. Yata means we are all in the chakra of samsara. Samsara is chakra. Like in that chakra, sukha, semi-sukha, bhayankara dukkha. Again semi-sukha, sukha. This is called a chakra of our samsara. Sometimes very happy, sometimes miserable. Very happy is nidravastha, semi-happy is swapnavastha, only miserable in jagradavastha. Okay, na? This chakra hai na? Again, why it's chakra? Chakra is such a thing. Again goes back to same position. Again, to whichever the point we are there, remember, neither we are there permanently, nor we are not there permanently. We come and go, come and go. So, एक जीव का, remember, janma marana wala samsara chakra, sukha dukkha wala samsara chakra through that janma marana. The giver is the mana only. Again, feel this shloka's meaning again. Fourth line. Samsara chakram parivartayadyat. Samsara chakram parivartayadyat. My samsara of sukha dukkha is continuously given to me by my own mana. This mana is the karana, not the janaha, graha, nakshatra, tarakaha, or devata, atma, or kala, or karma. This is what you have to realize. When we listen this, it is not acceptable to us because we are in a strong notion that the things and beings are the karana. उसी को तो सॉर्ट आउट करना है ना. ये महाराज को इतने दुख के बाद ये अनुभव में आ गया. No, he is such a standard person over himself. He will not trust any person as a giver of sukha or dukha. It is his own manner. Now there are another aspect also कि the mind क्या है ना, जो भी सुख दुख होता है प्रारब्ध से ना, वो शरीर मैक्सिमम इंद्रियों तक होता है. If the mana is identified with them, he can be dukhi. But he can withdraw the mind also, he need not be. Then I can see the my body having diseases. I am detached to it. I took it as prarabdha. Then the mind will go through that pain, but not the dukkha. Having the pain is different, suffering the dukkha is different. Pain belongs to body, dukkha belongs to man. Because I identify with the body through the mana, I feel the dukkha in the mana because of the pain of the sharira. Is it not? Like anesthesia is given and physical pain is not known, so too the mind anesthesia one can give by being a sakshi to the dehadi, where any sukha dukkha coming to the deha, I am not touched. That's what he was in. He was in a psychological anesthesia, where he is not going to feeling that pain given when somebody kantha le liya. Maybe in the beginning days hua hoga, but when it's naturally every day happening, he understood it should not trouble me. Le lo, he only could be giving in later on stage. अच्छा तुम कंतार के लिए आओ, ले जाओ. हम लोग परेशान हो गए, अरे हम इसको चिढ़ाने आए और खुद ही सब कुछ दे रहा है, तो दे विल फेल एंड गो. इज अ डिफरेंट सब्जेक्ट. सो फर्स्ट श्लोका रिमेंबर, नायम जनो में सुख दुख हेतु हो न देवतात्मा ग्रह कर्म कालाः मनः परम कारणमामनन्ति संसार चक्रम परिवर्तयेत् यतो. महा उपदेश on 9th May 2022 we got now. Now, therefore, the world is expression of Paramatma. They come in our life to teach us this lesson, to focus on mana. And even to teach, before that, we have to free our mind from a lot of prarabdha. So, these all people are bringing it. तो सुख देने वाला को भी नमस्कार, भगवान का रूप आप. दुख देने वालों को भी नमस्कार, भगवान का रूप आप चले जाओ, बस आप मेरे नमस्कार ले लो, आपसे मेरा उससे ज़्यादा मतलब नहीं है. See, when you are in the train, मूंगफली वाला आता है, you buy the मूंगफली, बाद you don't remember it. In your entire journey, 10 times he may come, 10 times you file मूंगफली खरीदो, लेकिन उसको दिमाग में चढ़ाने की जरूरत नहीं. In the same way, let everybody be around in our life. Repeatedly we contact them, yet don't create a dent in the mind through raga dvesha. Just like 2 years you attend the class, still the regularity is not gained. In the same way, that freedom, if we can have, dare not anybody trouble us. Now, why this is to be done? Do we have any fighting with the world? Or no, no, no. We have to focus our attention on the actual self, which is the giver of liberation. अब वहाँ तक जाने के लिए देखो, when you have to go to a minister, collector and put up your application or express your all grief to him, first of all you have to be allowed there, no? अब वॉचमैन गेट पे आपको रोक रहा है तो आप जा ही नहीं सकते. अब these all things, the suffering in the mind, taking the cause as the world, are the watchmen, etc., who are not allowing us to go to our own real self, the collector inside. Is it not? Like that. Now, second shloka we studied yesterday, I know, but the process how the mind works, we can see this. And when you know it, then we can arrest it. What is that? मनोगुणान्वयी सृजते बलीयः ततश्च कर्माणि विलक्षणानि शुक्लानि कृष्णान्यतलोहितानि तेभ्यः सवर्णाः श्रुतयो भवन्ति. In this thing there are two aspects are there. One, what we do from our side. Second is what the totality of the Ishvara does. Now that thing is not much discussed in many of the cases because it is taken for granted that he will reciprocate the result to whatever we do. वो उनके ईश्वर को स्थित कर नाम दिया है. ईश्वर वो है हमारे पाप पुण्य का डिस्पेंस करने वाला, और उसके ज़्यादा उनसे कुछ जाने की जरूरत नहीं. थोड़ा डिवोशन लगाओ तो यू विल मेक गिव सम कंसेशन ऑफ द पाप, यू मे हैड 2 रुपये एक्स्ट्रा ऑफ द पुण्य फला, or that depends on how devotee you are. But his main job is to give the sukha dukkha for our own papa punya. So he is not discussed much about. What's discussed is our own. First 3 steps only. First manaha gunanvai srujate. कौन सा मनः? बलिया. And the mana which is creating thoughts in it is doing it with so much of bala, and that bala to the mana came only because of the habit. The power because of habit. And by itself the mana is so balavan. Chintanam mein mana Krishna pramati balavat drudham. So baliyah manah gunanvai sujate. Very, very powerful is the mana, goes on project. Gunan means the guna vrittis. The thoughts it projects. Gunanvai sujate. The thoughts, the imagination, the projections in the mind, mind imagines. Mano sujat gunanvai sujate baliyaha. Gunaha means the guna janita jagatika vastus. There are 3 types: sattvic, rasic, tamasika. Tatascha karmani vilakshanani. Then according to those 3 gunas, those karmas it does. Means when the sattvika guna is predominant in the mana, jnana paneka idea ayaga, that type of karma he does. He goes to a library and gets a book and studies. When the mana is in the mood of rajoguna, it wants to do some action, so he goes to the playground and plays. And in the mind, the thought of tamoguna came, then he goes to the bedroom and sleeps. So, manaha gunan sujate. According to that karma it makes us do, then according to the karma, that type of phala comes. Is it not? When he goes to library and studies book, the knowledge comes. That goes on helping him throughout life. Then in the playground through Rajoguna, he enjoyed that play for 2 hours. That gave him an exercise. That result only will come. He will not have the result of a sleeping fellow, nor the one who studied in the library. So to the one with Tamaguna who slept it, he will have the Nidra Sukha, but he will not have the joy of playing the sport in that wind as well as the exercise to the body, nor ever he will have the knowledge gained by the person who went into library. Okay? And 3 examples we gave of 3 people, but all the 3 are in my own mind only, in my case. So whenever I am in the Sattva Guna mood, I come to class. Whenever I am in the Rajoguna mode, I go to from the class again and again, here and there, to attend the phone, and to listen to somebody who came out. Kuch na kuch Rajoguna, and your own mana in Tamoguna, in the class you just sleep. And you focus your camera toward the God in your puja room. स्वामी जी तुम और मेरे भगवान देख लो, मैं जा रहा हूँ सोने के लिए. I hope this idea is not new to you and you are already doing. Otherwise इसको नोट करके कैसे मत करना. One of your audience only from you only I learned earlier days. They used to put their camera toward the puja room there. स्वामी जी देखो भगवान को देखो. That's a good one, but I'm just saying तुम दोनों निपट लो, मैं गया सोने के लिए. Rajas, tamas, sattvic. Is it not? Mano gunanvai srujate baliyaha tatascha karmani vilakshanani suklani krishnani atalohitani. We explained yesterday. Shukla is sattvika, Krishna is tamasika, lohita is rajasika. Tebhyaha savarnaha srutayaha bhavanti. Then according to those rajasic, tamasic, sattvika karma. See, sattvic, rajasic, tamasic vritti, sattvic, rajasic, tamasic karma, sattvic, tamasic, rajasic phala. We go into that. And the Sattvika Sukha is Ananda Swarup. The Rajasika Sukha is some type of Indriya Sukha type. Tamas Sukha is Nidra Sukha only. If that is positive. Okay. Now, what about the self here? In this 3rd mantra, what is the role of our actual self is said. Simple it is, very direct. That is what we have to digest in our understanding. Aniha Atma. हिरण्मयः आत्मा मत्सकः आत्मा मनसा samihata udvichaste. Samyak ihata manasa. When the mind is doing all this nataka, udvichaste is only looking at. Who? The real self in me. Without his own any personal want to do something, get something. Aniha. Iha means desire, iha means karma. कोई डिजायर ही नहीं है, कोई कर्म नहीं है, अंदर के प्योर रियल आत्मा को. Udvichaste is looking at only the mind. That is called as avichakashiti bird. The other word is eating fruits of karma. And in that word, there is a bird is jiva. In the bird, there is a mana. That mana is doing the karma. According to that, it is getting the pippala phala, good or bad. So he is Hiranmayaha. What do you mean Hiranmayaha? Aniha Atma. Hiranmayaha means golden. Golden is bright, brilliant. Means knowledge Swarupa. So the Hiranmaya Samana Chaitanya Swarupa Parama Atma, he has no iha to do. He is only Udvichaste. When the mana is doing, Manasa Samiyata Udvichaste and Matsaka. Mat means here Jiva. So here you can see the sadhana column mein, this Brahmana, he is dividing three things. One, world. Second, himself, Jiva. Third, the Atma in himself. So long he as a Jiva suffered in the world, taking the world as cause of Sukha Dukkha. Now he kept the world away by knowing that they are not the cause. Now he understood that his mind is the cause. Now he is relating now the relation between his own mind and himself and the Chaitanya Atma in him. So mana, what it does, said in the earlier sloka. With that mana, when I identify, I go through that. So my mana, when it is doing Shukla Krishna Lohita Sankalpa, and with that the mind only planning and doing Shukla Lohita Krishna Karma, that phala is coming. To that mind, when I am identifying, when the mind is doing karma, I become karta. When the sukha dukha come to the mind, I become the bhokta. अब तक ये चल रहा है. Now he is focusing attention on the self. Self is anihaha, hiranmayaha, matsakaha, udvichaste. Hare, there is self, pure, bright, brilliant consciousness. He is anihaha, he is just remaining. Anashnananya vichakashiti. Matsakaha is so kind, compassionate towards me. He is only watching. And my identity should be that. I have to merge in him. Ujvichaste. Then this jiva, I, swalingam manaha, his own sukshma deha called as mana, parigruhya, having holding on to that, kamanjushan, desiring and running for the Vishya Bhoga, Nibaddaha, Guna Sangata. So he gets bound to the Guna because of his desire and practice of enjoying the Kamanas. So he is doing that study. मैं हूँ, मेरा मन है, Paramatma, my own self, it is Udvichaste, Matsakaha, Aniha, Hiranmayaha. What am I doing? I, the Jiva, I took my own Linga Deha called as the Mana. What is the job of the mana? Kaman Jushan. Wanting to enjoy through Shabdas Sparsa, through the Indriyas, the Shabdas Sparsa Prasagandha. And I, with the mind, again with the senses, with the objects, I am only indulging in that and getting wound. So, Lingam Manaha Parigruhya Kama Anu Jushano Aham Jiva Rupena so far Nibaddaha Guna Sangataha. What is Guna Sangha here? Attachment to the objects through the senses. Here the guna means the objects. In the earlier sloka, the guna means the thoughts, sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. Thought means what there? The thought of karma is rajasic. Thought of nidra is tamasic. Thought of jnana is sattvic. I want to know, it is called sattvic. I want to do, it is called rajasic. I want to do nothing, sleep, it is tamasic. So want to sleep, you will always sleep. You will only look for sleeping only. Want to do, you only will. Like कोई बंदा इतना काम workaholic होता है, he can't be without work. Anywhere he goes, he finds his own work and does it. He is Rajoguni. That type of result he gets. Some other person is Sattvic. If wherever is there, he just inquires and tries to know. So there, the thoughts of the mana, here the objects of Shabda Sparsha Prasagandha, which are mentioned with the word Guna. So, Mano Gunanvai Sujate is thoughts in the 44 sloka. Guna Sangata 45 mein, the Guna means the Shabda Sparsha Ruprasa Gandha. So, kaman jushan nibaddaha gunasangata asau saringam manaha parigruhya. So, I am doing so far. Then what is sadhana now? I, instead of trying to enjoy the objects of the world through the mana, I withdraw from my mana and involve in identity with my own self. But such a habit you have developed with the mind to indulge in the world, suddenly nahi hota ho. Is it not? Like an object from here to there, you can do it easily because physical object. But your attachment to the object is so sensitive, subtle inside, immediately it will not go away. That's the power of the mana. तो इतना आसान नहीं है कि चलो मन से विथड्रॉ करके ध्यान में ले जाओ, आत्म ध्यान में. नो, द माइंड हैज टू मेड सो पक्का, परफेक्ट एंड वर्दी that it is no more becoming an obstacle. All the sadhanas to achieve this only. That no more the mind is an obstruction. That you do your meditation on the self. And all those sadhanas are what mentioned in this 46th mantra. And in that he said, all these sadhanas therefore are to control the mind and keep it aside, and you jump into the identity of your own self. So, danam swadharmo niyamo yamascha sutam cha karmani cha sadvratani sarve mano nigraha lakshanantaha parohi yogo manasas samadhi. Manasa samadhi paraha yoga. Bringing the mind to concentration is the highest of the yoga you have to do. And all sadhanas cater to that only. Sarve mano nigraha lakshananta. And what are they? Whether you do dhanam, whether you do swadharma, whether you practice niyama, whether you practice yamaha, whether you listen to shastras, you do all the punya karma, whether whatever the vrata, anushtana, kuch bhi karo aap, sab mano nigraha ke liye. Mano nigraha is to atma dhyanam. That is for atma anubhuti and moksha. So this shloka is very powerful. So tomorrow when we come, we analyze this one and the next 3, 4, which become a very good quintessence of main things to be done, learned and done right now for us from jumping from this extreme samsara dukkha at least into the level of sadhana. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavayashyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Sri Krishna Chandra Bhagavan Ki Jai. नायं जनो मे सुख दुःख हेतु न देवतात्मा ग्रह कर्म